You're probably standing there with a pipe laser on your shelf, wondering if it's really worth the money, especially when a bad pick can mean hours of extra climbing, missed grades, and a budget that's suddenly out of whack. I get that hesitation. There's a lot of hype out there, and the last thing you need is to spend a few $100s on a tool that ends up gathering dust. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. And I'm going to walk through exactly why the Topcon TP-L6AV might be the one that actually earns its price tag in your day-to-day work. Pipe lasers live in a pretty narrow niche. They're meant to give you a reference line inside a conduit, manhole, or storm drain so you can check invert elevations, slope, or alignment without pulling a long tape into a cramped space. The biggest pain points most crews talk about are battery life that dies halfway through a shift, a bulky unit that doesn't fit through a 12-inch access hole, and the fact that you have to stare directly at a red while standing on a ladder or in a manhole. Nothing fun. If you've ever spent 10 minutes trying to wrangle a laser that won't stay on, or have had to climb down twice because the beam drifted, you already know why the right laser can feel like a game changer. The Topcon TP-L6AV is built specifically for that pipework environment. First off, the battery. It's not just a long-lasting claim, it actually delivers around 60 hours of continuous operation. In practical terms, that means you can start a morning shift, walk the entire job site, drop the laser into several manholes, and still have enough juice left for the afternoon without hunting for a spare pack. For crews that run multiple jobs a day, that translates directly into less downtime and fewer interruptions to the workflow. Compactness is another hidden win. The housing is small enough to fit through tighter invert measurements, which is a real advantage when you're dealing with older storm drain systems where the access hatch is barely bigger than a coffee can. I've seen crews fumble with larger units that simply won't pass through a 10-inch opening, forcing them to either enlarge the hatch, a costly, time-consuming step, or settle for a makeshift measurement. With the TP-L6AV, you can slide it in, set it up, and be ready to take readings in seconds. One of the features that feels almost futuristic on a job site is the mobile app remote display. Instead of crouching over the laser to read settings, you can pull out your phone, connect via Bluetooth, and see the beam's parameters on a larger screen. Adjusting the grade, toggling the beam on or off, or switching between measurement modes becomes a tap-away process. For anyone who's ever squinted at a tiny LCD while balancing on a ladder, this is a genuine ergonomic boost that reduces the risk of a slip. Now, let's talk about the practical upside of a shared battery. Topcon designed the TP-L6AV's power source to be interchangeable with a range of their other job site tools. Think rotary lasers, laser levels, even some of their surveying accessories. If your crew already uses Topcon gear, you end up with one battery that can keep several devices humming. That cross-compatibility cuts down on the number of chargers you need to carry around, and in the field that means fewer cords, less weight, and a simpler inventory. So who should seriously consider buying this laser? If you're a municipal utility crew, a commercial contractor that does regular pipe installations, or a small to medium plumbing team that frequently works in tight underground spaces, the TP-L6AV lines up nicely with your needs. The long battery life, compact form factor, and app integration directly address the daily frustrations you face. It's also a solid pick if you already have other Topcon equipment, because you'll get the added value of that shared battery ecosystem. On the flip side, if you're an occasional DIY homeowner who only needs a pipe laser once a year, the upfront cost might feel steep compared with a generic, lower-priced model that could get the job done for a single project. Likewise, if your work involves long-range site layout like setting grades across a sprawling construction site rather than inside a confined pipe, the TP-L6AV's focus on short distance, high-precision pipe work means you might be better off with a different type of laser that offers greater range and broader visibility. No tool is perfect, and the TP-L6AV does have a couple of practical trade-offs to keep in mind. Because it's optimized for pipe work, the beam isn't as visible over long distances as some full-site lasers, so you'll want to make sure the job you're doing stays within its effective range. Also, the reliance on a smartphone for settings means you need to have a compatible device on hand. And in environments where phones can get dirty or wet, you'll need to protect the connection. Those aren't deal breakers, but they're worth factoring into your decision. Overall, the value of the Topcon TP-L6AV comes from shaving minutes and